Avni. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Nader. So, hello and welcome, everyone. Nader, good evening. Welcome. Thanks for being here. So, I'd like to start by introducing Nader. Nader, am I saying the name correctly?
Yes, correct. It's Nader.
Nader. So Nader is a passionate consultant, leader, and a strategist. He has 19 years of professional experience in developing leaders, a lot of experience that he brings with him here today, building capabilities, developing talents, designing and developing projects, and measuring the impact of programs, processes, and projects. And of course, the measurement part is often what's missing in our industry. You know, we've done some research previously, and we know that around 50% of organizations do not measure return on investment. So we are really delighted that Nader is an expert at doing that. And he's led a lot of projects in more than 20 countries. And Nader's vision and mission is to create positive change in this world through helping people change their behaviors. So thank you very much, Nader, for being here with us. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Avni, and hello, everyone. So I'm just hearing my echo. If you can please, okay, mute. That's great. Just sharing my screen. Perfect. So now we are going to talk about the return on investment. And my session comes between two sessions about trust. So your session, Avni, and there is after that a session about trust. And when I think about the link between trust and leadership, in fact, one of the most important traits for leaders is trust. In fact, great leaders, they inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, to become more. And this definition of leadership leads us of one of the outcomes of leaders. The first principle in the leadership, the first level, is to create trust. That trust will create commitment. The commitment will create collaboration, and this will drive to result within the organization. So when we talk about proving the value of leadership and proving the value of different investments in learning and development, especially leadership training, the first question that comes to our mind is, how can we prove that value? How can we measure that value credibly, following certain standards? And how can we convert data to money? How can we convert the benefit of leadership to monetary value? And this is exactly what we are going to see. So before starting, I have a question for all of you. Please, if you can type in chat box. So why you think that measuring ROI of leadership is important? Please type in chat why you think that measuring the ROI of leadership development is important. All right, not measurable, not manageable. We need to know how and which intervention are working to decide how much we should further invest. Excellent, Luis. Sonia said, to be sure, we have the good leader in the relevant place. Excellent. All right, no more answer. In fact, according to the latest report from the LinkedIn Workplace, leadership development programs are considered one of the most important programs, number 2, after upskilling and reskilling the employees. So a lot of organizations, they are investing in developing their leaders, whether future leader, hyper program, or their existent leader in different level of the organization management. So we have a lot of spending in leadership development, especially in this particular context after the COVID pandemic. We have a lot of uncertainty in our business. So we need great leaders to manage organization in uncertain work environment. So that's why we need a lot of investment, and we need to prove that this investment works, that there is a payoff of this investment. So the definition of leadership that we have presented at the beginning, Jean Quincy Adams said that great leaders inspire others to dream more. Dreaming more, that's reaction. This is our reaction, to learn more. So we are going to learn from our leader. To do more, there is some changes in behavior, because if our leader inspire us, so we are going to change our behavior, our application. And this change in behavior will lead to a result, will lead to an impact, so we can become more. In our session today, we'll be talking about how can we measure the payoff, the result that executive, that sponsor, that donor of our program would like to see. We are going to see 12 easy steps that will help us to prove the value of leadership development. So the first step of our process in measuring the value of leadership development is starting with why. So starting with why, understanding where we are going. And there are two famous books. The first one, Simon Sinek, The Golden Circle, and the second one for the 7 Habits for Highly Successful People from Stephen Covey. The second habit begins with end in mind. In the context of measuring leadership, starting with why is answering the following question. Why the leadership development program at this particular time? And there could be 3 reasons. The first reason, this is an opportunity. So we'd like to have a great place to work. We would like to have a better leader. We would like to increase our revenue. We would like to increase our reputation. It could be also, it's a response to a problem. We have a high turnover in our organization. We have a high number of complaints. The overtime is increasing. We have disengaged employees, lack of trust, lack of communication. That's why we implement leadership development program. Also, it could be a problem that we anticipate to avoid a future problem. That's why we develop our leader in our organization. So this is the payoff need for a leadership development program. It could be an opportunity. It could be a problem that we'd like to solve through the leadership development program, or it could be a problem that we would like to avoid. So how can we make it work? The next step here is to understand the business measure in the organization. So there are 2 types of business measure. The first category, we call it the hard data. The second one is the soft data. If you think about any organization, private organization, not-profit organization, public organization, there are 4 key measurements. The first one is related to the output. The second one is related to the quality. We would like to improve our quality, or we'd like to save our costs, reduce cost. Or also, we would like to save time. These are the 4 hard data. If we think about the soft data, it's related to the employees' engagement, to the customer satisfaction, also to collaboration, creativity, work habit, trust, happiness. So all these intangible measures that are very important to the organization that we would like to improve. This is the bottom line result for any organization. So those are the business measure that we need to identify. When we talk about start with why, so we need to know what are the business measure. All right, so we are going to see now a case study, because in this presentation, we are going to see a real case. And the real case is about Dubai Electricity Water Authority. So they have implemented a program called the Emerging Leader Development Program. So the payoff of this program, why this program? This is not a problem they need to fix. This is not a problem they need to avoid, but this is an opportunity they would like to take advantage. They would like to have the best leader in their organization. So the business measure that will reflect this objective, there are 4 business measures. The first one, they would like to see an improve in the output, productivity. Also, a cost reduction, operation efficiency, quality, and time saving. So those are the main, let's say, key business measure that the organization would like to improve. So that was the first step of the process, is to start with why, understanding where we are going. Before moving to the step 2, I would like to ask you the following question, and please type in chat. What do you think could be the second step? After starting with why, what could be the second step to show the value of leadership development program? Please type in chat. The what? The what? Okay, so my question is, what could be the second step? So the first step is starting with why. Start with why. Understanding where we are going, defining the business measure. So what is the next step after we define the business measure? What do you want to achieve? What is the outcome? Very good, Luis. Avni said the what. Imran said the what. Or Andreas said by when. All right, I mean we need KPI. Very good. The who, Sebastian. All right, so the next step we called, after starting with why, is make it feasible. That means select the right solution. Selecting the right solution means we need to identify what performance of the employees, what behavior they need to have, what the actions that our leaders in our organization should do in order to improve this business measure. So that's the performance need. So the second step of the process is make it feasible. Make it feasible, answering 3 questions. The first question is, what is the performance need? What needs to be changed in order to improve the business measure? The second question is, what is the learning need? What our leaders should know, should acquire in terms of knowledge, skills, attitude in order to change their performance? And then the last point is, what is the preference, so need, that means how the solution will be structured. So how the leadership development program will be implemented. And this phase also we define the who are our target audience, to whom we are going to provide this leadership development program, based on which criteria we are going to select these leaders. So in this phase, this is part of the needs assessment. So when we talk about any performance improvement solution, whether it's leadership development, coaching, any learning and development action, and talent development. So the first step is the needs assessment and the analysis. In starting with why, we define the organizational needs assessment. Selecting and making it feasible, selecting the right solutions means identifying the needs in terms of performance and the needs in terms of learning and the preference of implementation of the solution. So let's see our example of the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority organization. So for the performance need, future leaders in this organization, so what is the gap? They lack key skills, key leadership skills in terms of communication, self-awareness, problem solving, team building, change management, and coaching. So this is the performance gap. This is what they need to improve in their daily work in order to make an impact and to improve the business measure. So after identifying the performance need, the next step is to identify the learning need. So what those leaders should know, what information they should have. So there was a gap, knowledge gap of the leaders in the identified skills. We talk about communication, self-awareness, problem solving, team building, change management, and coaching. So if we improve the learning, if they know, then they will apply what they have, what they are knowing. So there will be an impact. That's a chain of impact. And then the preference need. Here, the program should be relevant to DEWA, Dubai Electricity and Water Authority requirement in emerging leaders, and perceive it as important for the employee success. So this part is the needs assessment. So when we talk about the evaluation, the two first steps are related to the needs assessment, understanding the situation. So it's like when we have the reality, so understanding the reality, where we are going and what is our actual situation. Then we identified who we are going to train. So when we talk about who, 29 participants were selected for this program, and the program was designed and delivered using 9 modules and 10 coaching sessions. So this is how the solution was implemented, was structured. So let me remind you about what we have seen. The first step of the process, start with why. The second step, make it feasible. Guess what could be the third step? Please type in chat. What could be the third step? So we did our analysis. So what will be the third step of the process? Implement the solution. Not before implementing the solution, there is other step. Identifying a champion, Sebastian. So what could be the third step of the process? Measuring the ROI of leadership. First one, starting with why. Second one, make it feasible. The third step is expect success. So this is a planning step when we plan for result. That's a step 3 of the ROI process. So in this step, we make sure that there is an alignment. We align our leadership development project with the need of organization. To do that, we use something called the V model. So if you can take a look on the screen, and the first two category of the needs, the payoff need, the business need, are related to starting with why. The other 3, the performance need, the learning need, the preference need are related to make it feasible. Expect success means defining objective at different level. So we have the reaction objective, our leadership development program. We have a learning objective. We have application objective, impact objective, and ROI objective. A lot of L&D professionals, they only develop learning objective. Learning objective are important, but we need to have objective beyond learning, beyond what the leaders should know. A lot of training programs are related about what are the skills for leaders, what are the practice of leadership, what the leader should know. But a little training program are designed for application, what the leader should do in their workplace. So we need to define application, and also we need to define impact objective. And once we define the impact objective, we can define ROI objective. So with objective in hand, so the next phase is to have the level of measurement. And there are 5 levels of measurement. The first one is reaction, learning, application, impact, and ROI. So you see with this V model, we have the needs assessment, the objective in the middle, and the evaluation. So this is how we can make sure our program is aligned with the business, with the needs of the organization. So let's take a look on our example of DIWA, how the objective were developed. For the ROI level, the objective was to get 25%. That means the benefit of the program will be 25% more than the cost of the program. For the business objective, the impact objective is to identify at least one improvement in terms of output, improving the output, quality improvement, cost reduction, and time saving. So those are the measurements that we have identified earlier in the business need that we would like to improve. So each leader in the organization, the 29 leaders, they should select one or more of these business measures in order to improve. The application objective here, that the participant would implement leadership skills back when they go back to their job with their team members and other departments. And also they need to identify the barriers and enablers for application. So what are the key skills that they need to use, that they need to apply to demonstrate? Communication, developing their team members, managing themselves by having a better self-awareness, understanding their strengths and weaknesses, solving problem, making decision, managing change, and coaching team members. So this is what they are supposed to do when they are in they go back to their work. For the learning objective, it's linked with the application objective. And the organization here, they set the objective of having an increase of plus 15% between the pre-learning and the post-learning in 6 skills. First learning objective is that participant will be able to identify the 5 elements of effective communication skills. Second one, describe 3 techniques for involving team members. Third one, identifying their strengths and weaknesses, self-management. The fourth objective is to describe 3 techniques in solving problem, making decision, then to identify the 5 steps of change management, and also to demonstrate knowledge of coaching. So can any one of you please unmute yourself and tell me what did you notice here if you compare the learning objective with the application objective? Let me see.
Can I speak?
Yes, please, Amran.
Yeah, I obviously learning objectives is what you have learned from the training or whatever learning intervention is there, and based on that, you will probably define that, considering the end in mind. The application of objective is definitely the behavior part, how they will take that learning and they will apply on the job. So that's what I understand, because I think it is very much aligned with Kirkpatrick's 4 levels: reaction, learning, behavior, and results. That's what I
Yes,
understand. Yeah.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
By the way,
And
I have one question. Sorry if
yes, sure.
if you don't mind. What I see here is like the learning objective seems to be very tangible in that sense, but the application objectives are still very subjective. So maybe you will probably explain it later, I guess. But I feel that it's not quantifiable. Do you think it's quantifiable at this stage, or you are going to explain it later?
Yeah, I'm going to explain later how we're
Because I
going.
feel that it's,
Yeah, how we're going to
okay.
measure
I
it.
am interested in that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
yes,
Yes.
Amran. Yes, good. So here the idea, if we take a look, there is a link. For each learning objective, there is an application objective. If we would like our leader to improve their communication, to communicate effectively, so they should acquire some knowledge here. And the learning should be specific. For example, if here in our case, to identify the 5 elements of effective communication skills, or the 2 element, or the 10 element, whatever. But here the learning objective should be precise. So we don't say as a learning objective to improve the communication, or to have a better understanding about, let's say, how to develop team. But so we need to be very precise and very specific. For each application objective, there should be a learning objective, as you can see here in this slide. So there should be some alignment between learning and application. Application is a result of learning. All right. Then we have the reaction objective. In this case, in this organization, the L&D department, they have identified 4 measurement. The first one is about the content. The second one is about lecturer or facilitator. And the third one, it's about the logistic of the program. And the fourth one, that the overall satisfaction. And the objective here is to have a score more than 70%. More than 70% of the results. So, Avni. All right, very good. So once we saw the objective, we know where we are going. Now we need to plan. And here I'm going to show you 2 very important planning documents that will help you. And all the effort and evaluation is in this 2 documents. This is a very practical tool for you in order to start the evaluation of your leadership development program. So the first one is called the data collection plan. In the data collection plan, we answer 5 questions. The first one is, what do you measure? The second question is, how do you ask? So, I mean, how do you measure? In each level of evaluation, which tools are you going to use? Whether are you going to use a questionnaire or action plan or interview or focus group or observation or demonstration or test. So which tools are you going to select for each level of evaluation? The third question in the plan is, who do you ask? Who are the source that we give you the data, the answers that you need for each level of evaluation? And then the other question is, when do you ask? So when do you ask? Is it at the end of the development program, at the end of each module? So after 3 months, after 6 months, in each level of evaluation, there is a timeline. So we need to know when we are going to collect this data for each level of evaluation. And then the last part is the responsibility. Who does the asking? Who is responsible to collect the data? Because in ROI, the 2 main important, let's say, competency that we need to have is, first one is data collection. Second one is data analysis. That's why we plan for that. So that's the first document. And we're going to see an example later on with the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. The second document is called the ROI analysis plan. In this document, we talk about the intangible, the method of isolation. So which method of isolation are we going to use? Which method of converting data to money are we going to use? Also, we talk about cost category. What are the cost category of our program? What we need to put as a cost? There are some direct costs and some indirect costs. What are those indirect costs? Also, in this step, we define the intangible benefit. We define our communication target, to whom we are going to present our result. Then we identify the other factors, the other influence. So when there is an improvement in the result after this leadership development program, we have low turnover. We have, let's say, an increase in the result and the profit, low cost. It's not only because of our leadership development program. There are many other factors. Changes in job market, the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the market. There are some adjustment in standards, incentive plans. So there are a lot of factors that will influence the same business merger. So we need to know what could be those factors in the planning stage. And then we put any comment that we have for the analysis. So those two documents are very important because they will help us for successful execution of the measurement and evaluation, and also to get the management buy-in, the management support for our evaluation. So let's take a look on one example of the data collection plan for the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. For the level 1 evaluation here, we can see our objective was to have a positive reaction in the content, in the lecturer, in the logistic, and overall satisfaction. The measure here that it should be more than 70%. How we are going to collect the data? Through survey. Whom we are going to ask? The participant of this program. When is the time for collecting those data? It will be at the end of each module, at end of coaching session. Who is responsible to collect this data? Is the ROI team in the organization. They have quality and the learning development team. They call the ROI team responsible for collecting these data. For level 2, the objective here is to show, to acquire learning and communication and team development, managing themselves, understanding effective teamwork, and the understanding the change in the workplace, how to manage the change, solving problem, making decision, and demonstrating coaching. So this is the objective in terms of learning. The measurement here that all the participants should pass score in all assignment and also increase the level of knowledge by 15% when we compare the pre and post assessment. Who is the source to get this data? The participant themselves. We are going to ask the participant and also the facilitator. When this data will be collected, so end of each module, and also before and after each module. Who is responsible to collect the data? The facilitator and the ROI team. That's for the learning part. Now, when the participants go back to their work and apply what they have learned, we measure the application. So for the objective application that we have defined in the previous V model alignment model, so the participants should show improvement in their leadership skills and also identify barriers and enablers. So how we are going to measure that? We are going to measure that through their action plan. And also the data collection will be with a questionnaire and from the participant, and also questionnaire from the supervisor, from the line managers. The data source, participant, and the line manager who are the supervisors. When we are going to ask? 3 months after the implementation of the program. Who is responsible for that is the ROI team in the organization. For the impact level, which is level 4, the participant should identify at least one improvement in terms of output, quality, cost reduction, or time saving. So the measurement here, it's different from one person to another because they need to select one or more business measures to define. How the data is collected through an action plan, The data source is the participant themselves, and the time for measuring that is 6 months after the program, the responsibility of the ROI team, and the ROI objective is to achieve 25% return on investment. So this is the data collection plan. The second document is the ROI analysis plan, and here it's typically for the level 4, which is the business impact level. We have here 4 measurements: output, quality, cost, and time. So in this phase, we define the method of isolation that we are going to explain later on. So in this case, it's participant estimate. And then for the method of converting data to money, there are 2 techniques here selected. The first one is surrender value. The second one is participant estimate. For the cost category of the program, there is a cost of needs assessment, coordination, the facilitator fees, the coaching fees, the participant time when they are participating in the training and the coaching program, and also the evaluation cost. The intangible benefit of this program. So first one is the employees' loyalty, because we would like those leaders to stay longer in the organization. We would like that they have more job satisfaction, and also to increase confidence and trust. For the communication target, to whom this report will be presented, to the senior management, to the direct managers of the participant, L&D staff, and the participant themselves. So other influence, there are 3 other influence. The first one is the effort of the organization to develop, to empower its leaders. The second one, there is ERP system, the SAP implementation of the organization. And the third influence, there are some new processes. So new adjustment in standards and the process in the organization. So those are the different factors, and this is the ROI analysis plan. So let me remind you about the 3 steps that we have seen. The first one is starting with why. Second one, make it feasible. Third one, expect success. These 3 steps take about 60 to 70% of our effort in the evaluation. And then all the rest would be easy to do, because this is the planning phase. So I want you now to guess what could be the 4th step. I think it's easy. So let's see the 4th step. Step number 4. What could be the step number? Please type in chat. Sebastian, implementation. Very good, Sebastian. So this is when we implement the program, and we call this step is make it matter. This is when we measure the reaction, when we measure the learning, collecting the data during solution implementation, during the implementation of this leadership development program. Make it matter, that's step number 4. So in this step, as I said, we measure reaction and learning. For the measuring the reaction, there are 5 typical items. The first one is relevance. Second one is the importance, the value added, if there is some new information here, the facilitator, the mentor, the coach, evaluation, effectiveness, and if the participants are willing to recommend this program to their colleague. For the learning part, we measure the skills, the knowledge, the attitude, or the competency, the capacity. How can we measure that? There are many tools that we can use. For the reaction, it could be the questionnaire, the survey, observation, interview, focus group. For the learning, same tools, and also we can use demonstration, test, or simulation. Those are the different tools for measuring the learning. Let's go back to our example for the DIWA. And Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, for reaction, a survey was used, and for the learning, test, pre and post test were used. So the result here, the objective for the reaction was to have a score more than 70%, and this objective was achieved. So for the content, it was 75%, for the lecturer, it was 78%, for the logistic was 74%, and for the overall satisfaction, 76%. That's the reaction level. For the learning, a comparison between the pre and post was 17%, more than the objective, which was 15%. So that was the result of the reaction and also of the learning. After measuring the reaction and also the learning, the next step here is to make it stick, making sure that what the participant have acquired in terms of learning, they apply it in their workplace. This is where we measure the application, and also we measure the impact on the organization. Make it stick. There are two items here that we need to evaluate and to measure, as I said. The first one is the application, and then the impact. For application, the first item, the extent of use, the task completion, frequency of use of the new skills, of the new behavior, actions completed, and also identifying the barriers and enablers. For the impact, we talk here about the output, quality, time, cost, and customer satisfaction. That's the common intangible measure in the impact level. How can we measure that? For the application, we can use a questionnaire, observation, interview, focus group, action plan, performance contract. For the impact, we can measure with the questionnaire, action plan, performance contract, and performance record. Those are the four most common tools for measuring the impact. Let's see our case study, how the application and impact were measured. For the application, there was a questionnaire for the participant, and also a questionnaire for the managers of the participant, supervisor of the participant. For the impact level 4, there was an action plan for the participant, since each participant has selected one or more of the business measure to improve. So for the usage of the skills based on the questionnaire, so all of them, they have used the skill based on the result of the participant themselves or the supervisors, more than 70%. So there is usage of the new skills they have learned out of this leadership development program. And also they have defined the barriers and enablers. The barriers related to the workload, management support, internal work policy, and there were also some enablers related to the management support, to colleague, to work environment, to self-confidence. So reporting the barriers and enablers help us to make our program better, to make adjustment for the program. For the business impact result, there were 10 action plan related to the output, 20 action plan related to the cost reduction, 10 action plan for the quality improvement, and 12 action plan to save time. So let's go back to our process. Now we are in step number 6. It's called make it credible. And this is a very important step in the process, because here we isolate the effect of our leadership development program. Because the improvement that we have in the business impact, it's not only because of our program, there are many other factors. So isolate the effect of leadership development program. This is step number 6. And it's a very important step because there are many other factors that contribute to the total improvement. And the leadership development program is one of these factors, like system procedure change, like management attention, incentives, market change, external factors. So we need to know what is the contribution of our program. And for that, there are good news that there are a lot of useful technique. The first technique, the most common technique used is called the control group, control and experimental group. So one group go through the training program, leadership development program, we compare it with one other group, not trained group. The second used technique is the trend line analysis. The third technique is the forecast. Then we have the participant estimate. We have the customer input, also the expert estimate or the previous study, the supervisors and managers estimate, and also we can calculate or estimate the impact of other factors. Those are the different methods to isolate the effect of leadership development program. So the first, let's say, most used technique for isolation is the control comparison group. Here we have experimental group, we compare it with other group, which is the control group. For example, in this case, the experimental group, they went through leadership development program. The result of the sales before the program was 35 and after the program is 45. For the other untrained group, the result were 35 and now it's 40. So what is the impact of the leadership development program? If you can type in chat, what is the impact in this case of the leadership development program? What could be the impact of the leadership development program? Please type in chat. All right, Debbie, great. That's correct. This is 5,000. So this is the contribution of the leadership development program. For the second technique, which is a trend analysis, so the program here was conducted in the month of July. So we take the previous data 6 months before the program, the average of this data before the program, and then we do projection 6 months after the program, and we compare the actual data with the projected data. And this difference is the contribution of the training program. So in this case, the projected rate was 14.5 and the actual data was 7%. That difference is the contribution of leadership development program, which is in this case 7.5%. So there are a lot of tools for isolation, as we said, and like the forecast, like the expert input, like the participant estimate, supervisor estimate. And in our case here, we have selected for DIWA, we have selected the technique for the participant estimate. After knowing what is the contribution of the leadership development program on the business impact, then the next step is to convert data to money. In this step, where we decide some data will be converted to money, some other data will be kept as intangible. And this step number 7, convert data to monetary value. To do that, there are a variety of techniques, 10 techniques in 4 categories. The first type of technique is called converting output to contribution. The second one is converting the cost of quality or converting employees' time using the compensation. Also, we can use the historical and cost saving, then the internal or external expert. We can use external database or study, And then we can use a method called linking with other measures. And then the last category about estimation, or it could be the participant estimate, the supervisor's manager's estimate, and also the staff estimation. So what we did with our DIWA organization. So the sample calculation of one of the action plan here, just to show you, one of the participants wanted to improve the quality. And to improve the quality, that means reducing the error. To do that, first thing is the number of error per month before the leadership program. The number was 5 error. The second point is number of error after the program. It is 2 error. So here we are reducing the number of error by 3 error. So what is the time spent before the program per 1 error? It was 2 hours to fix that error. What is the time spent, okay, to fix the error after the program? Was 1 hour. So how many people involved to rectify, to correct that error? So it's 1 participant only. What is the salary per hour? Is 105 dirham. What is the percentage of change caused by the program? I mean, this reduction in number of error, what is the contribution of the program? Was 50%. And what is the confidence for this placed in this estimation is 80%. So let's do the calculation here. It's very simple. The cost per month before the program of the error was 5 error in 2 hours and 105 dirham, 1,050 dirham. That's the cost per month before the program. What is the cost per month after the program? So now we have only 2 error, and we have 1 hour multiplied by 105 dirham, so we have 210 dirham. So we can see there is a reduction around 840 dirham cost saving per month. So we multiply this cost saving by 12, we have 10,080 dirham. That's the benefit for this action plan for the error reduction. However, this benefit is not only because of the leadership development program, it's only 50% and the confidence is 80%. So we multiply this amount by 50% by 80%, we have the 4,032 dirham. That's the net isolated benefit of the quality improvement for this action plan. So analysis for all the action plan has been made here, and the total isolated net benefit for all those action plan is 7,399,784 dirham. So that's the benefit for all the participants for the different action plan that we have. Action plan for the time saving, for the cost reduction, for the output productivity increase, and also reducing the number of error and number of complaint of the customers. All right, so the next phase, now we have the benefit. We need to calculate the cost, and the cost calculation is very easy. We have 2 types of cost here. We have direct cost, we have indirect cost. Direct costs are related to the program fees, to the program material, facility, if there is any travel. The indirect costs related to the needs assessment, material design, development of the program, the participant time, administrative overhead, and evaluation. Let's take a look here on our case study for the DIWA. As you can see here, the total cost for all the participants was 2,163,000 dirham. If we take a look on this cost category, you can notice here that the most important cost is related to the salary of the employees attending this program. You can see here, since it's 9 modules plus 10 sessions of coaching, so participants, they are spending a lot of time in this development program. And this is usually a hidden cost for HR, for L&D professional, because they don't see it. but it should be calculated and incorporated within our calculation. So now we have the benefit, we have the cost. The next step is to calculate the ROI. The formula of ROI is very easy. The benefit of the program minus the cost divided by the cost multiplied by 100. So let's do simple calculation. If a program costs 60,000, so dollar, the benefit 100,000, so the ROI is 100 minus 60 divided by 60 multiplied by 100, so we have 67%. In our case study, the ROI was 242%. What does it mean? It means for each dirham invested in this leadership development program, dirham was returned and another 2.42 dirham was generated. So here our program exceeded the 25% target. The next step is to identify the intangibles. Intangibles are the soft data out of this program. And in our case here, there were 3 intangible. The first one was the increased loyalty, the increased confidence, and also the increased job satisfaction. So once we have all the result, monetary result and non-monetary result, the next step is to tell the story, to communicate result to different stakeholders. So to whom we tell the story, there are 4 primary audience. The first one is the sponsor, the donor, the investor, the managers of the participant themselves, and the L&D staff. And there are different ways to communicate the story through synchronous meeting, virtual or in person, completed report, 1-page infographic summary, and executive summary, executive report for the senior managers. After telling the story, all this result, all this ROI will help us for optimizing the result, make it better. And that's the last step of the process. In fact, there are 2 perceptions of any investment in learning development. The first perspective that this is a cost. And if it is perceived as a cost, the cost should be controlled, reduced, or eliminated. The second perception, this is an investment. An investment should be protected, should be maintained, should be enhanced. And your role is to protect all those investments. So the evaluation will help us to make it better, to improve result, and to get more funding, to have an allocation. So those are the 12 steps of the ROI methodology. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask. I know we are running out of time. I know that.
Yes. Thank you very much, Nader. Right on time. We've actually just run out of time. So if anyone has questions, please reach out to Nader directly. He's got a QR code here. So Nader, thank you very much for a very informative session. We've all learned a lot, and I'm sure people will keep in touch with you and ask more questions directly. So everyone, a big round of applause for Nader. Thank you very much, Nader.
Thanks, Avni.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Avni. Thank you.
So I'd like to hand over to Kais at this point. Thank you, Kais.
Thank you, Avni. Thank you, Nader. I don't know if Marcia is here. So,
Marcia is here.
Is here? Okay, great.
Hello, Marcia. Good evening. How are you? Nader, maybe you want to take your PowerPoint? Thank you very much, Nader. I saw Marcia enter the room.
I can't see Marcia.
Ah, okay. I did see her enter the room earlier.
Yeah, so if not, so we can leave some space to Nader to answer some questions.
Yeah. Nader, if you have any questions.
If you have any questions to Nader while we're waiting for.
Okay, perfect. So I just would like to close what I was saying. for all of you, and thank you, Qais, again for this excellent opportunity. So it's
You're very
great
welcome.
always to be in this event of Excellencia. So if we, all of us, if we want result, if we want impact, we want positive ROI of all what we do, whether it's in leadership development, in coaching, in learning and development, we need to plan for it, to design for it. I mean, it just won't happen otherwise. We have some, habits that we need to change, or some processes that we need to correct when it comes to delivering results, delivering ROI from our different program, results that executive want. Hope is not a strategy. Luck is not a factor, and doing nothing is not an option. Things have changed after COVID-19 in terms of what we have to present as a result for different stakeholders. So change is inevitable, but your progress is optional. So it's up to you. I highly encourage you to start thinking about showing the value of all what you do. You are doing a great job in coaching, in learning and development, leadership development. So we need just to show that, to prove that. Thank you again, Qais. Thanks, Avni.
So
I'll be
thank you
pleased
for
if you have
that
questions.
conclusion. So Avni, keep going.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So Marcia is not here yet at this moment, right?
Can I ask a question, Avni, if it's fine?
Yes, please go ahead. Ask a question. Yeah.
Yeah, Nader, I have a question. Actually,
Yes.
like to be very frank, I have been working on this like impact assessment in my organization, and what we have done is like I've been in touch with ROI Institute to just understand exactly how we can go till the fifth level, which is ROI. But unfortunately, I have always faced one like obstacle or hurdle, which is like the amount of resources or the amount of money required to to execute this assessment, or you to show the value. Now it is very difficult to like prove it to business that okay, we are going to put this much effort and then we are going to show you the value of these programs. So how do you think that we can convince our organization that do you think that it should be implemented for all the programs, or it should be like for only some specific strategic initiatives only?
That's a great
Hello?
question, Imran. That's a great question. And there are a lot of cost-effective approach for implementing the ROI methodology. So you asked a very smart question, and I like it. So should we calculate the ROI for all our program, for our type of program? The answer is no, because not all the program have the same purpose. Some program are designed for positive reaction. Some other programs are designed for learning. Some programs are designed for changing behavior. Some programs are designed for impact. Some programs are designed for ROI. So if you look at the purpose of the program, not all the programs are equal. Not all the programs have the same objective. Some programs are implemented just because it's nice to know. Some other programs are implemented because it's mandatory that we should know that. So for example, if you are in the healthcare industry, if you are in aviation industry, there are some tests, some learning that should be there before you are able to do your work. Some training program, some coaching program are designed just to change some behavior. So it's here to change the performance. And some other program are designed because there is a business need. There is a need from the organization to improve certain business measure. The percentage, the benchmark of the program that should be evaluated in the fifth level in the ROI are 5 to 10% of your total number of the program. For the program that should be measured in level 4, they are about 20%. So you see here, that's the benchmark based on the latest ROI Institute survey, global survey in 2019. So only 20 to 10%, that's the target evaluation for level 4 and level 5.
Thanks, Nader. I think
You're
that makes
welcome.
perfect sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I actually I have also been like like we have, to be very frank, like we haven't reached till the ROI level. We have tried our best through our, like, well, you can say whatever resources we have. But I really found your, like, analysis part really interesting. We have even used the process of, like, isolating the effects of the training. But anyway, like, this looks very insightful, and hopefully in the future I will get in touch with you to see,
Great.
to
So,
learn
so
more.
Amran, you are from which country?
I'm in UAE. Yeah,
UAE. Okay,
I'm from
great,
India,
great.
but yeah, working in
Excellent.
UAE. Yeah. Yes.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
this example, there are a lot of impact study conducted in UAE, a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
organization, UAE universities, and also in India, a lot of impact study there conducted in India. So if you are interested, I can share with you. We have a lot of case study in this
Yeah, that
particular
will be great.
part of the world. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, that would be really nice. So if you can share some case studies, that will be great. Thank you so much, Nader. Really
you're
appreciate that.
welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
My pleasure.
May I?
My friend.
It's such a lovely surprise, my dear Nader, and I wrote to you into your own personal kind of emails, just a note.
Thank
But
you. Thank you. It's a
for
pleasure.
the sake of discussion, I am urging you to come up with another, let's say, kind of meeting with regard to the return on investment, because if we are associating ROI and engagement level, some
Yes.
companies in the Middle East will be suffering to death. They say, we are sending so many people to training, but the engagement level is 4 out of 10. Why? So I would love, through Kais, to have one more session and talk about, let's say, the outcomes with regard, say, to leadership development, based on coaching or based on training. And then we will see some different and some really interesting
Yeah.
figures. Guys,
Yes. Yeah.
it's a pleasure, my dear friend.
My
Masalama, please be in touch. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
You're right.
Thanks, Andreas. So
So
is there
we're
any question?
Marcia, so lucky Nether, so you have Nether, you have all the space to really interact with our audience, and lucky all of us also to use the space to really ask some questions about what the gems of knowledge that just have been shared by Nether. So go ahead if you have any question, please go ahead. Nether, I'd like to challenge you a little bit. Are you ready?
Yes, of course.
So, you know, that's my style. I'm kind of provocative. So now, with the COVID-19 and the different political, economical, organizational crisis, so how much as leaders can we trust? And coming back to the notion of trust, how much can we trust our metrics, our measurements?
All right. How much can we trust our measurement? Okay. So I'm trying just to understand the question. So how can we trust our measurement in our work in HR learning development? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So, you
Yes.
know, we plan, we set goals, we set KPIs, and as you said, change in an unpredictable way. So how much can we trust these numbers?
Okay. So the impact of, the actual situation, the COVID-19 pandemic on the learning and development is important. The last, let's say, year, a lot of organization has moved to the virtual training, to the online training. And many of these organizations were not ready, were not planned to do that. So it comes suddenly, and we need to move from the traditional training, classroom training, to the virtual. So a lot of organizations, when they have done this shift, they were not prepared. And a lot of the virtual learning platform, I mean, it's suitable to achieve a positive reaction or learning, since a lot of platforms, they have this learning measurement options, but few of them were designed for application. So the missing part here is the role of the line managers, the role of supervisors. We need to engage them more. And many report, whether by the ICF or by a LinkedIn Workplace report or the ATD, emphasize on the important role of what we call the learning champion in the organization. Who are the learning champion? They are the supervisors. They are the supervisor who, by their commitment, the reinforcement, they support the learning transfer. So make the learning work in the organization, make the learning stick in the organization. So what happened with the actual situation, the rise of the virtual training. So all the organization, even they were hesitant before for moving to the micro learning or for self-directed learning and so on. Now they are applying it, and most of those programs are not designed for application. It's just designed for learning, because if you are using the online, we can make sure that we have a good proficiency rate of the participants, since they complete online modules, they can answer questions and make sure they have learned. But those solutions are not designed for the application. And here the role of the learning and development manager to design the program for result, to plan for result, the result beyond learning, beyond application. This is the impact, to show the value. If you notice at Qais, a lot of organizations, they have stopped the training, stopped any investment in HR. Why? Because it's considered to be as a cost. So for the sponsors, the decision maker, they will not invest in this particular time. There are some important investment to be done. Okay, there is risk, there is uncertainty. So for many organizations, L&D and HR were considered as a cost center. When we prove the value of what we are doing, when we prove that using the HR analytics, this measurement, it will help to prove that we are helping the business to make money, to make results. So the role of HR professional in the beginning was order taker. We ask other department what they need, and then we provide them with the solution. It's like order taker. Then this role has evolved to business partner. We are partnered with other business to achieve the result of the organization, to support them. And now the good news with what you said, the measurement, it helped to have some analytics. And those analytics will help us as a learning and development professional, as a HR professional, to make money, to generate money, to show the result of any investment in HR in the bottom line of the organization.
I challenge you a little bit to just to get the best of you. So, yes. So my question is, what if I show up as a coach and I say, I'll help you with your HR programs, and you'll see the benefit of this with some concrete and measurable indicators. You'll see that if we implement this, we'll increase our incomes by let's say by 5%. And by the end of my intervention, what I did with them, my work, so we end up not achieving that goal. So how you manage? What's your thinking about that?
This is good point. I mean, here we talk about the responsibility. The responsibility. Who is responsible to achieve this result? So there are many different stakeholders. One of them is the coach or the facilitator. One other is the participant themselves. One other is the managers of the participant. That's the learning champion. So when we take all these stakeholders, I mean, to achieve this result is not responsibility of the coach, of the facilitator. Who is responsible for that is the participant themselves. So there should be some preparation before the intervention, during the intervention, and a support on commitment, reinforcement from the learning champion of the organization when the participants go back to their work. So it's not the accountability here, it's for all the parties.
And as a leader now, setting goals and using this matrix, how would I feel if I do not achieve them? So the process was there.
Very good.
I
Very
did
good.
everything by the book, but I haven't achieved the goal.
You know, guys, there are many in the ROI calculation. Of course, not all of program will generate a positive ROI. Many program deliver a negative ROI. And sometimes it comes minus 500, minus 1000%. So the point here that the ROI, it's not KPI for the managers in HR or learning development. It's a tool for improving the effectiveness of your program. You see that the step number 12, the last step of the process, is called optimize the result, using the black box thinking. So the black box thinking is the concept taken from the healthcare industry, from the aviation industry. The black box in the aviation, it will have to record all the data of the flight, similar to our process. So there are some data we gather from level 1 till level 5. And there is a level here I didn't discuss with you because of the time. It's called level 0. That's before the level 1. It's called the input and indicator. So there are here a lot of data that we can gather during this process, like what is the engagement of the employees, the relevance, the learning, the application, the impact, and the ROI. All this data will help us to make our program better in future. There are some adjustments. When we understand, identify the barriers of implementation, we can identify what needs to be corrected, what needs to be adjusted, improve it to make our program more successful, or sometimes to stop our program or to redesign it because we find out that our program is not effective. It's not delivering result. And I've been conducting a lot of study, I mean, in many particular field, like, technical or soft skills program, and some program revealed to be ineffective, so they need to be stopped. So here it's about accountability, it's about proving the value of our investment, showing the result.
Okay, great. So I don't know. So I want to leave the mic to Avni to keep carrying on with if there is any other there are any other questions. I don't know. So is there any other question? Because I'd like to do something interesting. So I really I'd like to check with you if
sure.
Any questions to ask to NADER since he's here, and really welcome in any kind of challenge.
Yeah, so I mean, I personally don't have any questions, Kais, but we were speaking, in the background to figure out, for the session we were going to have with Marcia. So I think Marcia is not in the room. Is that right, Kais?
She's not here yet, so we hope that everything is okay with her. So, I'd like to check with all our participants. So are you still with us? So if you're still here, folks, please type 1 on the chat box, because I'd like to ask you a question. Who's still here with us? Following us? Avni's here.
I'm here, yes, and I have I have a suggestion of support.
Well, so if you're following us, if you're still connected to this session, so I'd like to see if yes, please type 1. Jeff is here. Well, I see many people here, still here. So I'd like you to be interactive with us. Well.
Yes. Kai, so I have some good news.
Yeah, just before leaving the floor to you, Avni, I'd like to ask you a question. This is the question to all of you. So Marcia is not here, so we're waiting for us. We hope that she makes it to the session, but I'd like to ask you this question. Do you think, what do you make of this situation? Is it a positive or a negative one? If is it a positive, please type 1. If it is a negative, please type 2. positive or negative? Avni, one.
Qais?
Yes, Nader, please.
Yeah. You know, when I do presentation, one of the question I have after doing a presentation is to ask about the feedback. So, I mean, and to make sure that the participant that I'm engaging with them, they have learned something, because learning is a predictor of application. That's why, is it possible, I have a little game with the participant using Kahoot, so I can share my screen, and I have few questions just to ask them. Can I share my screen?
If possible,
Please.
so go ahead.
Yeah,
No
all right. Very good. Just share my screen here. Perfect. So, who of you is familiar with Kahoot? Please thumb up. Give me thumb up if you are familiar with Kahoot. Thumb up if you are familiar with Kahoot. For those of you who are not familiar, just you can type in chat. All right. So what we are going to do here, we are going to play together. And you can use your mobile devices, tablet or laptop, and go to kahoot.it. Kahoot.it. The one you see on screen now, kahoot.it. You'll be asked to enter a game pin. 65266445. Then just type your name and let's see. I'd like to make sure. Yeah.
Do we need to insert a code? This is the code, right?
Yeah, that's the code. So I have Jana. Welcome, Jana. First one. S. Oh, S. Who is? Let me see. S. Let me guess whether Sebastian or not sure.
That's me, Saras.
Saras. Okay, good. We have DS. DS. All right. Who else? M. Okay, so Tina, we have four joiner. NT. NT. Yeah. LW. It's like secret agent. No one with full name, only Jana. Jana. Okay, good. All right, gone. Very good. So we have now nine who joined us. All right, so what we are going to do exactly, you're going to see on the screen a question, and there are 4 options. Each option of the answers are in different color: blue, yellow, green, and red. Using your device, whether it's mobile or laptop, you're going to select the color that match with the right answer. And all the question that you're going to see, I have just talked about during the last hour. So we have 9 participants. Let's start now. If anyone has a trouble in logging in, please unmute yourself and let me know. I can support you. Okay, ready? All right. Measuring the ROI. So you're going to see the first question. How many levels of learning and development evaluation are there? Are there 4 level, 6 level, 5 level, 7 level? If you believe it's 4 level, click on the red color, bottom, 6 orange, 5 blue, 7 green. All right, so we have one right answer, DS. Let's see the second question. Here, this question double point. How many steps are in the ROI methodology? Are they 5, 6, 10, or 12? How many steps are they in the ROI methodology? Yes, there are 12 steps. All right, and M is number 1. So here you should have correct answer plus the fastest one. Number 3, which of these data is not hard data? Output, cost, time, or trust? All right, 4 right answer. And GON is the first leading. Number 4, the fourth question, level 3 evaluation is called learning, application, behavior, or action in the ROI methodology. Yes, this is application. All right. Next question. This is multi-selection, so there are more than one answer. The first step of evaluation process is to develop standard, start with why, calculate ROI, or develop objective. You can select one answer or more if you would like. Start with why, perfect. All right. Next one. Control group analysis is tool control group. Is it for convert data to money or for isolation, for data collection, or for reporting? Excellent, for isolation, very good. Next one, number 7, standard value is a tool for converting data to money, isolation, data collection, or reporting. Standard value.
Hi, Nader, if you can just check your message, please.
Yes, we just ended right now. Okay, converting data to money. I did. Very good. Number 8, action plan is a tool for converting data to money, data collection, isolation, or reporting. The action plan. All right. This is data collection like questionnaire. And then let's see the score. John is still number 1. Number 9. This is double point. Participant time should be included into the payroll, the file, the cost of the program, or the archive. The cost of the program, excellent. All right, DS number 1. Then the last question here, double point also. Executive, they want to see primarily the positive feedback, the knowledge and skills, the monetary value, or the number of participants. the monetary value. Excellent. So let's see podium, the bronze medal for NS. John, number 2. And the first one, DS. Bravo. I'm curious to know who is DS.
Let me talk.
Yes, Miss Debbie.
Debbie, bravo, Debbie. Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And John, G-O-N. Who is John? John. Is it Georgios?
No, it's Gonzalez.
Gonzalez. Bravo. Bravo. Well done. And NS. Who is NS? NS. Secret NS. Maybe Najwa. Maybe, I think. It's Najwa Saidi. Yes, great, Najwa. Bravo. Excellent. Avni, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much.
You're
so
welcome.
everyone, yesterday we were listening to Kais talk about this, situation where crisis happens and how we can use that as an opportunity. So we had a bit of a situation where, of course, one of the speakers couldn't join us for whatever reasons. So we're going to turn this into a fantastic opportunity for us. Who's in for this, right? We've got a choice here, and it's going to be a quick yes and no answer from you. The choice is, would you like a live coaching session from an MCC who's in our room here with us today, and I'm happy to be volunteer as a client for her, or would you like to watch a coaching session that has passed its MCC? So we have a coaching session that's already passed MCC. We can listen to that. That's 1 hour long. Or we can actually do a live coaching session. So number one, if you want to watch a 1 hour coaching session that's past MCC, or number two, want to get a coaching demo from an MCC today. Our MCC here is Saras. So let me know what do you prefer, number one or number two? Everyone, please vote. Number one, number two, number one, number two. 1 hour coaching session, number one, or number two, a live coaching demo. Okay, it looks like we have a winner here, okay? We have a live coaching demo. Kais, if you can please make me a co-host or a host so I can introduce.
You're already a co-host.
Okay, great. So thank you, everyone. And we're turning our crisis into an opportunity. Kais, I hope that's good to use yesterday's phrase. So Saras, my dear, are you here?
Yes, I am, Avni.
Hi, Saras. You're using my link. Maybe you want to just rename that one, please.
Oh, yes. I didn't notice that. I will do that.
Yes. So everyone, meet Saras. She is like one of the most wonderful people I know, my coach, my confidant, and we've done a lot of work together. And she's just, one of the best coaches that I feel, and I really love being coached by Saras. And I've had many sessions with Saras. So Saras, thank you so much for being so kind and generous and just stepping in at the last minute and joining us here.
Like you said, turn everything into an opportunity, right? Why not? Learn together.
Absolutely. So Saras, thanks for joining and thanks for agreeing to be our coach today. Okay, we're so excited to